Hey, it's Corey with Freedom Community Management and Freedom Investing Group. And today I'm going to talk to you about AI in mobile home park investing and operations and what you can use it for. And specifically, I'm going to compare Chat GPT, the one that everyone's talking about, to Google Bard. I got some kind of invite from Google where I get to be a beta tester of Bard. So I figured I'm going to put them up head to head and ask them some mobile home park related questions and see if we can draw some conclusions about which one's better for what. And spoiler alert, they both have some pros and some cons. So let's dive in. This is going to be fun. I'm going to share my screen here so you can see what I am seeing. Hang on, I need to click screen share or entire screen. Okay, so you should now see my screen up here. So I've got Bard and Chat GPT. So it's Chat GPT. So Bard is bard.google.com and Chat GPT is chat.openai.com. So these are Chat GPT has been around since November, and Bard, they're just rolling out to try to compete with it. So let's see how they do. So the first thing that I'm going to ask them, and I've got some things that I'm going to copy and paste in here. The first thing is I'm going to ask them, since we operate multiple mobile home parks, and every spring, this is a current thing right now we're actually doing, every spring we do a spring cleanup. We have a dumpster, we cater a lunch, everybody gets together, they can clean the junk out of their yards, they can help each other fix things up. It's generally a good event. Makes the parks nice, and the residents like it. It's a chance for them to connect. So let's see what happens. Here's the prompt. Write an article advertising a spring cleanup event in a mobile home park that we manage. A dumpster will be provided, as well as a catered lunch. This is a chance for the residents to connect and help make the community as nice as it can be. That's the message I want to give. I just want it to sound nicer than that, right? So boom, here's Chat GPT. And while that's writing, I'm going to go ahead and paste the same thing, the exact same thing, over into Bard. And while that's writing, I'm going to come back over here. So here's what Chat GPT comes up with. Spring is in the air, and it's time to welcome the season with a fresh start. At Mobile Home Park Name, we are excited to announce our upcoming spring cleanup event. We're inviting all of our residents to come together to beautify our community, and we hope you'll join us. On date, we'll be providing a dumpster for everyone to dispose of any unwanted items, cluttering their homes and yards. This is a great opportunity to get rid of old appliances, furniture, or other items that may be taking up space. By doing so, we can free up space and help our community look its best. After we've all put in some elbow grease, we'll gather together for a catered lunch. I'm not going to finish reading I'm not going to read word for word everything in here, but note what it's doing here. It's not just regurgitating what I wrote. It's adding in stuff. It's I didn't tell it anything about old appliances. It just figured that out. And it's making it sound like kind of exciting and cool. It's a better article than I could have come up with, or at least this would have taken me hours to get it to this point. It's pretty awesome. And maybe there's some things I might need to go in here because it's adding details. I definitely need to review it and edit stuff out or make some changes, but it's a great article. Let's go over to Bard. Spring cleanup event. Join us for our annual spring cleanup event on Saturday, April 16th. It just took a guess at the date. I never told it a date. So you got to read it carefully. We will be providing a dumpster and a catered lunch. This is a great opportunity to get to know your neighbors and help make our community a nicer place. So that sounds great, but this is kind of just the same stuff I put in there. It's not really adding. The only thing it added in was a date. That's probably wrong. The event will start at 9 a.m. and go until noon. Once again, they're making some guesses here, but that's probably about right. We will be providing trash bags and gloves, so all you need to bring is yourself. See, it's adding stuff in, but it's adding like details that we actually have to do things. I mean, we probably can't. Not that we can't provide trash bags and gloves, but you need to read this pretty carefully. Hope to see you there. So it's much shorter. They added some stuff in. They took the liberty of adding some stuff in. This is nice too. It's not bad, but it's definitely lacking some of the flavor, I think, of the Chat GPT thing. I kind of like the language of the Chat GPT one a little better, although this is nice and concise. So maybe this is good too. But they got all kinds of stuff where you got to read real carefully. RSVP April 1st. So they're adding more, the stuff that they're adding in is more like specific information that's probably wrong because you probably got to coordinate all this stuff. Whereas the Chat GPT is adding in more just like kind of flavor to make it a nice article. They're leaving blanks for you to fill in the dates and things like that. I kind of like that better. So I think both of these are good options. I sort of like I would sort of edge towards the Chat GPT on this one as far as getting a nice letter or newsletter article to sound really neat. And you can also, important note here too, you can also come back and ask it, say this was too long. You could also say, if you wanted it shorter, you could say, make this more concise. You can ask it to do things after the fact and it'll re-edit stuff. And so then it'll come up with a similarly nice sounding thing, but it's much shorter now. So say you didn't want all those words, boom, now you have a nice short one. So I think I'd give the edge to Chat GPT on this one. So let's look at another one. And this one is going to be a little different. This one's going to involve a current event. And I think this is important to note. So I'm going to paste in here a current event that I happen to know. I happen to know that ChatGPT is going to have trouble with this one. So say I am analyzing a property in St. Paul, Minnesota, and I want to know what are the current rent control laws there. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT, and I'm going to go ahead and ask Bard. Let's see. Here, ChatGPT cannot answer the question. Look at this. As of my knowledge cutoff date of September 2021, St. Paul, Minnesota has a rent stabilization ordinance that limits rent increases. So it gives you some the best information it can, but ChatGPT, and this is a huge limitation of it, is not hooked to the live internet. It's hooked to like one sample of information, but it's not live. So its knowledge base stops in September 2021. So anything that happened after that, I happen to know that St. Paul, Minnesota has a lot going on with rent control right now that you would want to be aware of if you were going to invest there. You won't get any of that information from ChatGPT. So I think if this is a current event, let's go see how Bard does. Here it goes. Bard says the current rent control laws in St. Paul, Minnesota are as follows. Rent increases are limited to 3% per year or the rate of inflation, whichever is higher. I actually think that's incorrect. So you also need to be a little careful. Maybe they've changed this even. I looked at this a couple months ago and it was not even tied to inflation. It was just 3%, but 30-day notice. Anyway, so you do want to be a little careful as far as the correctness of this and research it. Response to growing housing crisis. So this will attempt, Bard will attempt to summarize current data and events for you. You always want to kind of double check it. You could say like, what is your source for that answer? Or you can click the Google it button and do some research too. So you always want to double check it because you never, like, sometimes it's not always right, but it's at least hooked to the live internet. So it can give you live, up-to-date stuff. I asked it, who was the favorite to win the NCAA tournament a couple of weeks ago, and it was able to give me odds on all the different teams that were still in it, like up to date as of that day. So it'll tell you where it's got its other information. And so you might want to double check it, but if it's current event related, ChatGPT is just not even an option. And Bard can be a good option to kind of summarize stuff for you to help you understand stuff. So that's the next one I would say. So current events, Bard, clear winner. Let's check this one out. I did this one about a week ago when I did a head-to-head, and it was interesting to see the difference. This is going to say, give me 10 blog ideas about mobile home park investment. Say I'm just calling them blog ideas, but I do these YouTube videos and I want some ideas. There we go. Same prompt in both of them. Why mobile home park investing is a smart choice for real estate investors. How to evaluate mobile home parks as an investment opportunity. The benefits of investing in mobile home parks versus traditional real estate. Whoa, so it's knowing that mobile home parks are different. 5 key metrics to consider. Tips for finding off-market parks. How to finance your mobile home park investment. That's a big deal with mobile home parks. It's a little different. There's the financing. The people who do the lending is a little different than other multifamily real estate. Understanding the mobile home park business model, the pros and cons, best practices for managing your mobile home park, and how to add value and increase your ROI. So all of these are good options. Oh, look at this. This is actually a pretty good list. Okay, so Bard has improved. This is funny. I did this a week ago. I was going to record this block, and I've been a little sidetracked. These all look really good too. So I guess they're both really good for this list. I did this a week ago, and Bard was giving me article ideas about mobile phones instead of mobile home parks. So I was rather disappointed with Bard, but it looks like maybe it either improved or I typed it a little different this time. So maybe this one I'll call a tie. As of a week ago, Chat GPT was the clear winner because this gave me a bunch of stuff about mobile phones. So okay, so this in this case, it actually is kind of seeming like they've both got some good details here. Now, what if I say add some details about each of those topics? I'm planning on doing this one, but I think this will be fun. Let's just do this. Add some details, copy, paste. Oh my gosh, look at this. Okay, look at this. Why I'm not going to read all these, but I'll just do the first one. Why mobile home park investing is a smart choice for real estate investors. Highlight the many benefits of mobile home park investing, such as lower overhead costs. Yep. Lower turnover rates. Yep. And a stable customer base. Discuss how the demand for affordable housing is on the rise and how mobile homes offer an affordable solution. That's exactly right. Like it knows what the heck it's talking about. Let's see what Bard did. Let's see here. The benefits of mobile home park investing. I think this is kind of the same one, so I'm going to go down to this one. Number of benefits. One benefit is mobile home parks can generate a high return on investment. Another is that mobile home parks are relatively easy to manage. Mobile home parks can also be a good way to provide affordable housing for people in need. Not wrong, but definitely not as in-depth as, definitely not as detailed and in-depth. Kind of interesting. So you're going to get different answers here. I kind of like the Chat GPT one. Seems like it understands the question a little better. I'm going to give this one a slight edge to Chat GPT. And now on my last one, I am going to, oh no, stay in call. I'm still here. For my last one, I am going to, this one is actually not mobile home park related. This is one that I have two young boys and they always want to know which animal would win in a fight. In a battle. And this was one they asked me the other night. Who would win in a fight, a wolverine or a honey badger? So let's go ahead and paste this into both of these here and just see. This is kind of fun. And I think it does illustrate a point. Yes, so I think this illustrates the point. Oh my gosh. Okay, now I'm getting different answers. Wow. Okay. I asked this exact question a week ago. That's weird. So Chat GPT tends to not want to take a stance. It'll give you like the pros and cons of things if you ask something, but it'll oftentimes, unless the answer is really obvious, it won't want to have an opinion. So it'll end up saying, ultimately, it's impossible to say who would win. In this case, this is just a fun question. Of course, it's really impossible to say, and that's actually the right answer. Bard was actually taking a stance. Bard was taking a stance. Let's see here. Both animals are tough, and then both. But in this case, it's also saying it's impossible to say. Okay, as of a week ago, Bard was actually getting off the fence and taking a stance, which I kind of liked. But apparently now they're the same. So anyway, I have seen in some other instances Bard being a little more willing to make an opinion on an answer to a question where Chat GPT oftentimes will back off and kind of say like, well, ultimately I can't really tell. Here's some pros and cons. So for whatever that's worth, I thought that was kind of fun. So that is it. So I think the key things here are, if you want like a, stop sharing. If you want an article on, if you want to like write something for you and make it sound nice, I like the Chat GPT a lot better. If you want something that's related to current events, Bard is definitely the way to go. And for other fun questions, I guess it's just an opinion one way or the other. I do think it feels like Chat GPT understands the question a little better, like on the mobile home park blog ideas. Like it'll actually give you some details that are like actually correct, whereas the Bard kind of just seems like it regurgitates stuff a little bit or puts more generic things that are a little more obvious, not necessarily wrong, but not like, oh yeah, that's the thing you would want to highlight in an article. So there you go. Head to head, Chat GPT versus Bard. They're both good for some things and not for others. Cheers.